So, quick daily recap from my side. I'll share my thoughts on today because I don't expect much more to happen. So, just do a quick video right now and then, yeah. Let's start on the daily time frame. As I explained yesterday, I wasn't too sure what we wanted to do next. I mentioned we will probably go and visit this imbalance. We did. Yes, it was probably going to continue lower to maybe this low right here, although I didn't quite sweep it. On the 4 hour, what did I see when I got on charts? First thing I noticed, I was on charts pretty much about when this candle here traded into this gap. For me, this was a make it or break it area where either we reject this gap and continue lower, or we inverse it and then continue higher. Also we had a IFEG overlapping right here. So we had bearish structure to the downside. Yes, looked a little bit different. We formed this gap, but there was no gap right here on the 4 hour. We did have this hourly gap right here, same on NQ, I think. Yeah, but this one got disrespected. And after I saw this bullish close right here on the hourly, I pretty much flipped my idea, and that was my mistake today. I flipped my idea to basically treat this gap as the point of basically to where I want to trade next, right? So with this close, I was starting to see this as this move down as the daily wick and then continue higher. Same thing on ES. Yes, closed above through the open as well, and then we saw what happened at market open. The 4 hour gap held, the 4 hour high got reswept, price chopped, went lower. So this was the first sign of a sell-off. I've seen a couple people actually take this, but didn't quite reach CE of the rejection block. So I wasn't all too bearish right here. I wanted to see this 50-minute gap and this hourly gap hold. I don't know, I was offside today. That's just what happens sometimes. And then the market opened and we saw a pretty big dump on NQ, but not on ES. So first sign that the day was going to be pretty average, in my opinion. So I was expecting this SMT we had at that time right here to hold. So for me, I was expecting at some point for NQ to actually retrace a little bit the same way ES did, right? But no, it continued to dump. And the first trade I took, I only traded evals today because I was expecting pretty mid price action because of NFP tomorrow. So the first actual trade I took was kind of this shot right here at the rejection block with size. And then I targeted something, I think it was 1 to 3, something like that, just to get the evals through threshold. This was the first loss I took, pretty much just taking risky trades on an eval to pass them pretty fast and then get to the funded stage. And then the second one I took was this 5-minute rejection block right here. We formed after this bigger NWAG, actually long this right here. Also like I think it was maybe 1 to 2.5, something like that, just to get the evals to threshold. This one also failed. And then I was like, okay, I'm glad I'm trading evals and not my funded accounts. And I just took a step back and watched what 10 a.m. was going to do, right? And then we can see at 10 a.m. we do have this SMT right here with the 10 a.m. candle, and I've seen people take this, which for me would have been a pretty valid trade if I had the patience to wait. Trader Maivas, this was the first pretty good trade of the day in my opinion. Also, if you missed the 1 minute rejection block right here, there was a pretty clean 5 minute entry too. That's like right here. Although you had like a huge stop on this, so either you do fake stop or wait for this to get tapped, like CE of this to get tapped. This looks pretty good. And then there was not really much to do right here. There was this range right here with an overlapping gap where it delivered a little bit, then it went down again. Then we had this. I pretty much longed this one right here the second time we came down. Because ES had all these equal highs stacked, and I wanted to get all of them, I wanted to get them swept and then trade to 1800 open. So I took this trade right here, with stop a little bit below this, just to see if I could catch a little move, which I did. I closed somewhere up here. This was the only trade I think I took on my XFAs, because I just needed a trade for like the week to get the winning day. So no big size, just small winner, that's it. And then I pretty much got off because I didn't like how ES left all these highs for the second time. And then we pretty much chopped. And if I waited a little bit longer, there would have been like the setup I was waiting for the whole morning. Picture perfect. And that was the 10 a.m. rejection block right here. Right. So not sure if there was an entry trigger on like the 15 second or something like that, but for me this was a pretty obvious and clear trade. At the same time, ES swept out this low right here. I don't know if you can see that, but ES swept out this low and could tap this Wix CE, and then we also had this to hold price too, and we pretty much delivered instantly. So a fixed stop right here was like the way to go. Either 10, 15 points, 17 points would be the low, like you could do 15 points, whatever you like. And then just target either internal or external and trail, whatever it is. But this was like the trade to take today, in my opinion. Everything else I did was pretty much trash. Like this was just risking it for the biscuit kind of, and it failed. And you see also why it failed. But this was the setup to take if you had the patience to wait through all of this. I pretty much got to the gym at this point, somewhere around here. So I saw it when I was at the gym, and yeah, couldn't take it outside of my trading time. Had the accounts locked, so whatever. On to the next one, right? And then we pretty much didn't do anything else. It's kind of 5 minutes. You can see, like, this is not favorable conditions to trade. This is just chop on the higher time frame, right? It's pretty bad overall, pretty hard conditions. If you look at ES and the range it's in, it's like, I mean, it's 30 points from the low to the high, but like the most of the consolidation is like 16 points. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Let's see how we close. Let's see how NFP drops tomorrow, and then I'll give outlook on that. And hopefully we'll catch a good trade tomorrow and end the week good. And yeah, it's pretty much it. There's nothing really more to say about this day except this setup. And I know there's gonna be people asking, oh, would you limit that? Why would you not wait for an entry trigger or whatever? we have engineered liquidity right here. That's getting swept. We do have a gap right here. We do have so many confluences right here to just limit this and have a 50-point stop or even 17-point stop for the low. Like, for me, this would be a clear sign to just risk it and take it. Whatever, if I lose 15 points, I lose 15 points to make, I don't know, 120. Like, the risk to reward is there. And when the risk to reward is there, it's a good time to limit it. And also, we had a lot of chop. So price wasn't as volatile as when it opened. And that's also another thing I consider when I will place a limit order instead of an entry trigger. When price is really volatile, I wait for an entry trigger. Or when it's on a higher time frame, I wait for an entry trigger. But in this case, it's a 5-minute rejection block with pretty mid volatility. So just either risk it or don't complain afterwards when it plays out, right? It's a preference, what you want to do. But yeah, that's it. And maybe I'll do a recap tomorrow too, depending on how the day goes. If we get decent PA I can break down and explain, I'll do one. But like I said, today there wasn't really much to talk about. And yeah, that's pretty much it.